Alrighty guys, just picked up a 1998 two-door E36. It's an automatic. It's got an inline 6 engine in it. I just put a hood and kidney grill on it already. Found some headlights that are in the car, tossed them in there. They're just sitting in there. Oh no. Does the hood not pop? Yep, so there she is. I gotta put a power block on it. I already hooked up the throttle cable. Obviously gonna have to block that off back there. It needs a radiator, which I'm gonna be picking that up too. And then from there, I need to put a fuel pump in it because I was looking through it back here, seen that cover, lifted this, and seen that there's no fuel pump in there. So we're gonna get a distribution block, a fuel pump, and then a new battery. I'm gonna put a new battery in there and then see if this thing fires up. There's no keys, but we got a punched steering wheel and looks like accessory, maybe fans. I don't fucking know how that works. Accessory. And we'll try and start it, see what happens. Alrighty, so I got the fuel pump swapped. However, this big fuel line, it's not down under there. I just took a video and looked. So I'm gonna see if that actually just feeds to the top of this fuel pump, or if that feeds like somewhere else to the motor or to a vent. Who knows? So I'm about to look that up and then I will know. All right, just coming over to this fuel tank that I pulled out of my LS E36 back when we put a fuel cell in it. Looks like I'm missing that line. It looks like it's pretty simple. It just goes to itself on that side. So yeah, I'm gonna take this off of here, then probably go put it on over there. Alrighty, so this is what I came up with because, like I said, that one is not vented. I'm thinking it's like something they changed from like OBD1 cars to OBD2 maybe, I'm not sure. All my sedan cars are ran where they have that line crossing over to the other pump, and this one does not. So I think I'm gonna cross this. Hopefully this is like a low pressure feed into that. Well, into, you can see it goes in right there, that other rubber hose down there into the side of the tank or something, and then this one picks up main and goes into the car, and then hopefully this will hold. And now we're gonna do the power distribution block and put a battery in and see what happens. Alrighty, well, I got the distribution block in there, got it all wired up. Everything's bolted and screwed tight. Pretty sure this is gonna be a problem. Pretty sure I'll put my battery in here. And I expected something, but I even put it back in drive, push the hazards, a window, a door lock. So nothing has power. The whole car is not getting power, even though I have a good battery. The distribution block should be fine. It's wired up right. As long as they didn't cut the harness, which it has carpet all the way through, so the harness is not cut. And this battery, I'm like 100% positive that it's got juice. So we're gonna check out what fuses are missing, try and get those popped in, and go from there. It's a little windy, sorry about that, but I did just put in every single fuse in there. Tried to match it the best I could. A lot of these that are blanks, I just put them in there just to fill it, just in case we'll need them for down the road. So we're gonna go back in here now that it's daytime. Just kind of double go over some of this, make sure none of it's touching or gonna arc out on anything. I hope we are looking all good there. So I'm gonna give it power and see what happens. Let's see. So far, nothing. Oh, we got some sort of power. All right, that's a big plus. Let's make sure this fan shroud's not gonna hit that tranny cooler. I think we're gonna try and turn it over. I did make sure there was some oil in there. Didn't smell too great, but it's whatever. Nothing. Okay, so basically what I think we got going on is this shit's not wired up the right way or how it used to be or something along those lines. So I'm gonna tuck that back up to the steering column and look up a wiring diagram and rewire this. Make sure I know I have accessory to a switch, whatever I need the other one for, and then starter, because that should do something. But it doesn't, so we're gonna figure that out. Alrighty, so I cleaned up this wiring a lot. I'm about to tuck it all away. I did accessory and run to a switch that gets power from this, and then this is supposed to be the starter, so I ran that to this push button, and then that one is going to be a ground. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. If not, we'll probably melt one of these, blow a fuse, no worries. But I'm going to go ahead and test this. Hell yeah. There's all that power, everything that we needed. Fuel level is pretty low or not working, which is weird because we just put that in there. But I don't know if you guys heard, we didn't have a fuel leak when it primed. Well, wait a second. I think it takes a second to bleed the prime. Let's see. Hell yeah. So that sounds like it's working. We're basically ready to start. Well, test it. Other than the car doesn't have a fucking exhaust on it. I just noticed it. It's got headers and that's about it. So I went and grabbed a sedan exhaust. We're gonna try and route that up under the headers and hope it meets up with the motor or the exhaust mounts. Because if not, this thing's gonna be loud as shit and my kids are asleep. So yeah, I think we're gonna throw this on next and then it's ready to try and start it. Who knows? We might try and start it. I don't know yet. Getting excited. Alrighty guys, phone's almost dead, but I just want to make a quick video. As you can see, we got the whole exhaust routed. I do have my O2 sensor not plugged in because I'm not finding the other end, but I found both of those and they're the exact same. So I'm thinking something maybe go in the middle of those, or they changed the O2 plugins. Who knows? We'll figure it out though. Next, gonna fix the push button, get this thing on the ground, tighten the carbon fiber trunk because we just got that sitting on there for now. And then, oh yeah, and I gotta mount the muffler back here real quick. Okay, exhaust is all done, battery's tightened. I moved the positive to have starter and a positive there. Push the brake pedal. Nothing. Alright, essentially I chalked it up to hopefully it's just the switch was bad. I tried to pull another one out of another project, but that switch was also, it was broken. Didn't even get a chance to try it. So yeah, we're gonna pop this on and hope we get some starter action. Alright, attempt number 3000. We're gonna try this again. If this works. I hate that noise, it sounds sketchy. Nothing? Okay guys, I'm looking up a couple things and I was like looking up how to bypass neutral safety switch. Fucking this thing was all tucked up under here, so that's most likely definitely what our problem is, but I'm not sure how it's supposed to look. It looks like it went like that, and then it had some other mechanism in there that rubs up against it. I don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump this, basically to bypass the neutral safety switch, and then hopefully that'll let us have start. Alrighty guys, there's my little bypass for now. If this works, we'll probably just cut the wires behind the clip and merge those together. So, oh shit, battery's been connected this whole time. Okay, that was probably less than ideal to have that connected this whole time, but let's see what happens. We got power, whatever that weird sound is. Nothing. Still nothing. Maybe these aren't getting a good connection. This in park. Okay, well that did not work. I'm gonna double check that connection is good and try again. Alrighty, so none of that worked. However, I forgot about the EWS, and I'm sure it wasn't deleted in the ECU. So we pulled it off of this little connector. That's the EWS right there. Just pulled this guy off, and then from what I read, you just find the two big wires in this. So it looks like the green and this black and yellow. Whoops, black and yellow and green. And then you jump those two. So you put a jumper wire from this first one and then the third one in right there. And it should work. Okay, we just bypassed the EWS. So hopefully this time works. Oh shit, bro. We got cranking action. All right, I'm nervous now. All right, we finally got it cranking. I only cranked it for a second, but now we are gonna see if she fires up. We are gonna swap the fuel pump on this side over tomorrow because I believe that it's not sending any fuel. I do hear that one kick on, but not this one. So that one we're gonna replace tomorrow, and then she should fire. But super stoked that we got it to crank. Definite win. Alrighty, we got the dash wiped off a little bit better. Carpets, at least vacuumed. Haven't tried the shampooer yet, but it's definitely cleaning up really nice. Stoked on that. So now we can go ahead and pop that out real quick and pop it in there and hope for the best. Okay, so we just pulled this out of another car, and I didn't realize there wasn't a pump on this other side, but it looks like the main one I deleted in the car, the one I put that rubber cap on, actually is supposed to feed this, bring it back down, and then go somewhere else and do something else crazy. So I just went and pulled this. Probably gonna put this one, since it's pre-OBD, or it's OBD1, I mean, we're gonna put that one in there, and then we're gonna put that crossover tube like we were originally gonna do in there, and hope this gives us some fuel. Alright, so we had to delete all that shit from the OBD2 setup because it has a crossover that's like in the tank. Pretty sure that's why I wasn't getting any fuel delivery. So we got OBD1 set up, crossover tube, everything's tightened down. It looks a little wet still, but no worries there. So I think we're gonna go ahead and give it power and possibly try and start it up. See how this goes. Good by now. There's no leaks. Could also just be super bad gas, because obviously we've seen the gas in there, but we need to confirm we're getting spark. Alright. Well, back to the drawing board. Alrighty guys, well, I've kind of came to the conclusion that since we don't have no crank signal there, I need to replace the crankshaft positioning sensor. And I do have another one in the garage. I'm just gonna have to swap that out later tomorrow, and then hope that we can get this thing fired up finally. Seems like it's a never-ending list. Alrighty, I know this is starting to be kind of a long video. Just basically been going through this car that was being parted out, troubleshooting everything, trying to get it to fire up so we can hear this motor run before we get into a manual swap on this. So I've replaced everything. I even just swapped the DME fuse just in case it was that. It wasn't. I checked underneath, so I swapped this fuse. It's the middle one in here. I just put it there for an extra backup just in case. I did pop that cover to make sure that we had ignition coils in there, because I actually haven't done that yet. I actually heard fuel move that time. Let's see. Nothing though. So I'm gonna replace the crankshaft positioning sensor. I really think that could be it. Alrighty guys, went ahead and picked up the crankshaft positioning sensor. We bought that new with lifetime warranty, but before I changed that out, I noticed that this whole boot had like 100 cracks in it. You can kind of see like one right there. There's a couple of big ones, like where this whole ring was almost separated. So I'm wondering if just a huge vacuum leak might have been the culprit. So we're just gonna test this just to see, and then we'll do the crank sensor. Alrighty, well, crankshaft positioning sensor did not work. Stupid, I know. So I went ahead and pulled spark plugs and coil packs. I kind of tried to do spark plug or spark test, but I didn't really see any on the videos. However, all of these spark plugs honestly look like shit and don't look like they're getting soaked by fuel. So I still think there might be a fuel issue. I know this one looks wet. It's actually like oil. I don't know. But only like 3 out of 6 of those had spark. We tested on our little spark plug tester there. So we're gonna do new spark plugs, and then we're gonna jack it up, pull the fuel line off, make sure it's sending fuel and I didn't mess that fuel up in the tank back there. And then, yeah, I guess go from there. Okay, well, I was just double looking over the ECU. I noticed right there, what's this little guy? And I looked at it, and that looks pretty toasty to me. Like it looks like it burnt, got hot. And that also looks like it could be a possible reason to not run. So this little guy that we stored, as long as these are the same 368, 368. I don't know if you'd say this one's better, but I know it came out of a running car. This one is coming out of not that. So we're gonna try this out and hope for the best. Alrighty guys, honestly, I'm trying everything at this point, and I read a couple forums that said I probably shouldn't have done that. It said that one of these, because I connected run and accessory together and then I ran them to power, online says that you cannot do that. Run has to be activated after accessory or else it messes with the ECU. And I'm willing to try everything. So we're gonna go ahead and wire up a second switch back up, and then we're gonna run accessory, or so like power to accessory, and then power off of that one to the next switch, and then off of that power to the start, instead of also drawing power straight from those two with the starter. We'll see how that goes, and hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Well, we got that wired up, and it did the same thing, just cranked and cranked. So tomorrow, we're gonna pull the line at the fuel pump, make sure it's getting fuel, and we might also replace the fuel, because that could also be something. Okay, well, I did some research, and I honestly believe that the ECU is not tuned for the EWS delete, and I found out on this generation specifically, the 98, like any OBD2, MS 41.1 specifically, you have to tune those out. So go ahead and order a tuning cable, and we'll be back at it. Alrighty, we're back to work on this thing. Today I finally got the USB to OBD2 plug for the laptop, so we're gonna go ahead and try and tune out EWS on the ECU. Kind of go over how we're doing that real quick. So on here, there's a diagnostic plug for BMW. They're usually clipped in right there, just like that. Let's get it to focus. So on here, it says you want to jump I'm gonna jump it with a wire, but you can do it however. 14 to 18, and then if you have an OBD2 car, then you also jump another set. I think it's 2 to 17. That way you can use the OBD2 port on the inside of the car to flash and write tunes. And then, yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and make a couple of jump wires for that. Get the laptop booted up. We have a jumper or a trickle charger on the battery. Should be good. It's been trickle charging for a few hours. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and try and write a tune with no EWS on here. First time I've ever done this. Hope for the best and pray the ECU does not break itself. Alrighty, so once you get those in there, it should look something like that. Right there, 2 going to 17 if you're OBD2 and you want to use the OBD2 port on the inside of the car. And then 18 to 14. But the other thing is, we pulled this wire out. We're gonna plug this back into the EWS because that should be bypassed once we're done with this. And we're gonna hook up power and see if we can't flash a tune in this thing. Looks like we got the file loading. You can see we had a couple of errors there. I think we got it sorted. And this is a little different than the video. Status, normal operation. Flash complete, turn off ignition for 10 seconds to reset ECU. So we'll turn that off. And then I think we might be ready. Alright. EWS is bypassed again. We'll see if this worked on the ECU. Everything's on. Oh shit. Oh shit. Dude, it fucking started right up. Holy shit. Alrighty, I think that is gonna be it. We heard it run. She finally runs. Next, we are going to assess this O2 problem. We got a bunch of the OBD2 style O2 sensors. I think we're only gonna need one by the time we're done. Might have to tune ECU again, but a little bit more confident doing that now. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Get that finished in the next video. Probably get a radiator on, and then as you can see, I'm starting to get this back down to the carbon fiber, so that'll probably be in the next video too. For now, I'm gonna go ahead and start like bolting up the bumpers, the taillights, just starting to clean up a lot of the wiring in the interior, now that I know it at least runs. And we'll get a radiator on the way and see if we can't get this thing driving.